and let's start. Okay, so I'm just going to say this because there's quite a new, there's been like 12 new people that joined the program in the last week. So I just want to, for those who might be watching the replay, sorry, I'm just going to change my view. Wait a second. Okay. So if you haven't already seen or know this, and a lot of you may not have because you've been in the program like a couple of days, but on a Tuesday morning, there's a post that automatically goes up in the group, and Facebook got their shit together and actually now allow us to do posts that will come out every single week forever until I turn it off, instead of having to schedule them, which you can't do past 12 weeks. And so now they've arranged it so that we can do them permanently. So I was hoping it was going to work this week because it didn't work last week. And then Dave found the setting and we changed it and it worked this week. So it should happen every week now. So it looks like this, for those of you that might not, it looks like this. It goes up automatically at about 7 a.m. Adelaide time every single Tuesday morning. So look out for that post. And that's where you put your questions if you have a question for this call. And new people are always prioritized. Everybody knows that. So don't feel bad. No one's getting pushed to the back of the line or something like that. But we do have people joining these calls, such as Danielle, such as Di, such as Marlon, such as Nicole, that are on the line with us right now, that have been in this program for 3 to 4 years, and still every week jump on these calls because of the value that they get. Even if they don't have their own questions, they feel like they get so much value, and it keeps them in a conscious parenting focused kind of mind for the week. So, yes, I'd just like to say that because somebody said last week, oh, I feel bad that this person didn't go before me. I'm like, it's okay. She's been here 3 years. She's had a million questions answered. Like, she's not offended. It's all completely fine. So, okay. So that's where you put your questions. Now, for tonight, if you are new and you're on the line and you had no idea about this, that's okay. If you do have a question for tonight that you didn't know that you had to put in that post in the group, then please just put it in the chat box now, and I'll get to it. I'll make a big effort to get to it. So for right now, Amy, it's you first. So I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to unmute your line. Hello. You look nice and snuggly there.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, been working all day and now I'm in my jammies.
How beautiful. Now, Amy, you have spoken here about, your son has, he's 13, he has autism, he has ADHD. And you know what? I just want to really commend you for the way that you've asked this question. I know you're new to the program. You've been here 5 minutes, haven't really had time to, look at anything properly yet or whatever. But, I love that the way that you've asked this is about yourself. Isn't like, what do I do to stop my son from being like this? That you're putting your hand up going, hey, like, what can I do to manage my own triggers while I get to the point where I can address and support my son better? And I just really wanted to mention that to you. Like, I really wanted to say that. It's bloody beautiful, especially, first week, first day, first question in the program. So I've made a little bit of an assumption and I want to check it with you because you do seem like quite a conscious person already. Obviously, we had a little chat on the phone as well. And I know that, you were, for those of you who were at Purpose Retreat, you will remember Michael Harney, the chiropractor, that he was one of our guest speakers. So Amy works for him. And I didn't even know that until we had a chat on the phone. So yeah, anyway, oh, I love that. Nicole, Jessie's routine, can't miss his holiday time. She's talking about her 3-year-old. I feel like I've raised that child. She used to sit here with her boobs out, like, feeding him on our calls, and he's grown up to the sound of my voice. Anyway, so Amy, I love that I get an opportunity to answer this for you the way that you've asked it, So a lot's going on. You're a single mum now, which, honestly, you are my hero. Like, I can't even imagine how hard that is, especially with, a demanding high needs child, right? And there's a lot going on because you said he's 13. So it's not just his autism and his ADHD. There's a lot going on for him at a soul level as well. Like, the astral body makes its connection into the etherical body between 12 and 13 in boys, between 11 and 13 in girls. And so there's lots going on for him, like there would be with any other teenager or coming into the teenagers, as well as all of this stuff, right? Now, here's what I want if it's okay to have a bit of a vulnerable, open, transparent conversation.
Yeah.
I love the words you said. Well, I love the way you described. You said here, you said he wakes up in an elevated state. His behavior is loud, demanding, obnoxious, rude, and it repels me. And I want to thank you for your honesty there, like for just
Yeah.
like really, I get it. And I love that, like don't be ashamed of that. That's just the truth. And you said it's at a state that I hear him coming and I feel my nervous system get activated. And you try and you succeed to stay externally calm and kind in your words, but at some point you end up obviously yelling, saying all the wrong things, and you just can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
totally. So my first question is this, and I'm going to go a little bit deep on you here, and I encourage you to lean in. We have these very deep, very transparent, quite spiritual conversations here all the time. So I know this is your first minute in this program, but this is something so normal that we do here. I want to start by asking you this. If you can just take your body back to the feelings of, when you wake up in the morning and there's instant triggers in your nervous system, right? And there's instant like sensory overload for you with the way that your son behaves. And even just knowing that you have to deal with it and you hear him coming and you get all that agitation happen and things like that. Let me start by asking you this. Where else in your life have you felt like that? Who else in your life has ever made you feel like that, if there's anybody?
Mm.
Can be anywhere, can be childhood, can be.
I mean, it's not the same, but I think it probably is a similar response in my nervous system would be some of the things that my dad used to do. And I recognize some of my reactions. I go, oh, don't do that. That's what dad used to do.
Right. Okay.
But I'm much more patient, but I still feel like when I eventually do react, I feel like I'm like him.
So what I can feel from the way that you wrote it, I say I really take my hat off to you for people to just be that real up front. That normally doesn't happen until people start feeling a bit comfortable here. But the reason I'm saying this is because when you said how, you do pretty well at staying calm and everything, but then at some point you just lose it. And the fact that this is, you also mentioned this is happening in the mornings where typically it's like you are the most fresh, like your nervous system has downregulated through the night. It's the first thing you have to deal with of a day, which is also like another stress. Like you just can't start your day feeling good, right? Like without something to deal with. And that's freaking hard, babe. Like that is bloody hard. I like, I wish I could change that for you, but it is what it is, right? At least for now. Now, in regards to helping your son, the program is going to help immensely. There's 2 buckets that every child needs filled every day. Like autism and particularly ADHD, those children are so energy sensitive, like they can feel you way before they hear you. And if what you're saying isn't congruent with what they're feeling from you, they actually feel insecure and like they can't trust you. Right. So even though you're making all the best efforts to say all the right things, like you said on the outside, even though on the inside, your nervous system is going crazy too, like understandably, ADHD in particular, even more so than autism, they're very energy sensitive children. Like they just feel stuff. Okay. And so working out his love languages, which isn't going to be easy, I'll tell you now, because he's 13 and he's probably overridden what his real love language is. And now he just, kind of tries to fill that bucket however he can, but we'll get to it. Okay. Just give yourself grace. And it's okay if it takes 6 months. So as you start watching all the videos on love language, I want you to use them like a roadmap. So I want you to go, cool, these are the things that I'm going to be looking out for over the next month, over the next week, over the next month. And you don't need to have a conclusive answer. I mean, some people, actually, Martine that replied to your comment, she took like a year, I think it was, or something, even longer to work out her son, who was, again, like, 12, 13, autism, to really, really crack it. So just don't get stuck on love languages. Watch the video so that you know what you're looking out for and you know what things to try and what to do with him. But keep moving through the program, all the while constantly looking out for all the things I give you on love languages, I'm sorry languages, and how to unlove your child. You look out for all those clues and we'll put the pieces together, and you can come to this call and go, I felt like his love language was this, and I started doing this, and he responded to it for 2 or 3 or 4 days. But now he's all of those things you can bring to me and we can help work it out. Okay.
Okay.
So that's going to help him if he, and as well as the sensory stuff that I saw Martine talking to you about. Martine is also one of our parenting coaches. So if ever you do feel like you want just a once-off call with someone that has a child with sensory autism issues, and she has helped a lot of people in this program. She's only just become one of our parenting coaches, but she has been here giving beautiful advice. She's also trained in reflexes and things like that as well. She's also worked in like OSH. She's been like a director of OSH and stuff. So she's worked with kids. So if ever you feel like you just need that one-time kind of support or call, there's an option for you to be able to do a private call with her if you feel like you ever need that. Okay.
Awesome.
But for now, I want to focus on you, because the only thing you can manage and control instantly with guaranteed, like we can try things with your son, but it might take a while for us to find his roadmaps, right? With you, you can control this. In terms of what you can control is what you do with yourself, right? So I really want you to feel, and this is why I said, definitely not the situation, but the feeling that you get in your body when you hear your son coming, or when you're starting to get those triggers and he's starting to get loud and you're like, oh, I have to fucking deal with this, right? When that starts to happen, I literally, just from what you wrote, I guarantee that you have felt that somewhere else in your life, okay? And that what's coming up for you is not just your son. Your son is triggering and highlighting a deeper wound in you. And this is the blessing of this kind of child, that they help us see where our wounds are and where we can, they kind of call us forwards into our higher levels of our own expansion. And so if you can pay attention to that, and please use this group, don't do this alone. Okay. I know you say, you're a single parent or whatever at home, but now that you're here, you're never alone. You make a post in this group, and look, you made a question for tonight, and before I even get the chance to answer you, you got all these responses, right? This is just what this community is about. And there's so many people in here that have their own professions, and so many families with ADHD, ASD kids. So even where I can't change the fact that you're going to have some hard days, but you have just changed the fact that you'll never do a hard day alone anymore. Okay, so use the group. Di, that you can see on the line, I saw she responded to you today, and I remember when she first started this program, and she would literally like go into her bathroom and lock the door and be up against the door, basically either she's going to scream or she's going to cry, basically. And she would put a message in the group going, I'm literally in my bathroom, I've locked the kids out, I literally, I feel like I'm going to lose my shit if I go out there. And she was that raw and that transparent and that real. And in those moments, like, the connection that she got from this group really helped. Okay, so full transparency, no shame, and use us when you need. What I want you to do now, the homework I'm going to give you, is it's probably going to be best when you are activated for you to really feel this. Okay, I want you to, even as you start getting the trigger, I want you to just ask yourself where else, and you can close your eyes and feel into your heart center and just go, where else in my life have I felt? Who else did this to me? That's the question. Like this feeling that I've got, this feeling that I feel like I can't change. All I can do is try to manage it, but I can't change the fact that I've got it. Who did this to me? Who else was it in my life that made me feel like this? This is going to be a huge clue, A, to breaking cycles with your son, okay? But secondly, even just you having an awareness that what's going on in your body is not really coming from your son. Your son is triggering it, but he's triggering something that was already there. And what that's going to do, it's just going to change the filter that you see him through. You're not going to necessarily see him as, the person that's doing this to you. You would have felt this maybe even more than just your dad. Maybe if you tune into just the feeling, not the circumstances, okay? Like you don't have to go, well, there's no one else that's yelled at me like my son yells.
Yes.
There's no one else that's made me feel abused like I feel with my son, okay? It doesn't mean they have to have abused you or yelled at you or whatever. Just go to the feeling. Could be a boyfriend back when you were 15. Like there can be a couple of things. There might be a pattern of it in your life it could be a boss you had 10 years ago, and anytime you're in trouble, you got this same feeling in your body. I'd love to know that from you, because if you can identify and call out like who else did this to you, it will change how you see your son. Where that's going to benefit you, and you're not going to necessarily like subconsciously be blaming your son for all this feeling that you've got, right? You're going to know this is not his fault that you're feeling this. He is contributing to the trigger of it right now, but it already exists within you before if anything, he's helping. He's a gift in your life that you'll see in the end to help bring up whatever this wound is and heal it. And here's the thing. Once we heal this wound in you and really give it the attention it needs, and it won't necessarily take long to do that if you're someone that's very open to doing some vulnerable work, what will happen is energetically, you will have different conversations. He will feel like there's more space in you, right? Like that there is space for him in your heart and in your life. At the moment, because you get so emotionally full and your own nervous system is probably being as triggered as his, you're just managing yours and being aware of it. But it takes up all the space. And so energetically, no matter what you say verbally, vibrationally, it like he feels that. I guarantee you. I think I saw Adele come on the line. I remember having this conversation with her when she first joined the program, and her son has ADHD. And when she came to the program, I always tell her story. It is, it really helps. She cried to me on the phone. The very first, she answered one of our ads or whatever, and we had a phone call. And she said, I hate to say this, but I feel so guilty to say this, but I literally feel like I don't like my son. Like, I know I love him, but I find it hard to love him. And I feel so bad about that because, of course, as a mother, we want to feel like we love and connect with our children. But that was just the truth of where she was at. She's like, I literally feel like I almost wish I could send him away to live somewhere because it's like he ruins my life. He just inconveniences everything in my life, and it makes it so hard. And her relationship with her son these days, 4 years on, is phenomenal. This is like now a 16-year-old boy that is so connected, that is so conscious, that's so aware of himself. This is like a child that was like had such high levels of ADHD. Schools were removing him. He was on medication, everything like that. Okay. So, and this is some of the work that I did with her as well, for her to be able to create a space in the relationship with her son where there was space for healing, where there was space for her to see him, not as a threat to her in terms of how it was going to make her feel, for her to get to that place and have space to truly see him. Or here she is. Adele, I was just talking about you. I was talking about you when you first came to the program with TJ, and how hard it was for you to feel like you even liked him at that time. And I was just saying how conscious and how amazing this kid is now at 16 years old. Yeah. Feel free if you want to unmute. I know you probably got something to say to a mum like this.
Sorry.
That's okay. I can hear
technology. You. Sorry, I was just downstairs having a chat with him, actually.
Oh, amazing. But isn't he just so different?
Like, I had you as I was coming up the stairs with my concoction of healthy food, and I went, I reckon that's me.
It was, you remember, right?
Oh, it was so hard. Look, it was so hard. He was, like, I don't even know where to start. Like, it was, the behaviors are really, really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure who I'm talking to because I missed the first bit. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it's Amy. That's okay. Would you say, Adele, would you agree with me? What I was just saying to Amy is that something that transformed your relationship with TJ was how much work you did on yourself and how much, and as you did
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and as you
Oh,
faced
it was all me.
yeah.
It was all me. I came to Holly going, yep, you just need to fix my kids because if you do that, my life will be fine. But yeah, no, it was all me, and it was all, to be honest, it was all just about listening to Holly's words. Like, I literally just jumped on these Zoom calls, and each week she'd just give me a couple of words to use and just be conscious of what I was saying and what energy I was saying it with. And as soon as I could rein myself in on that,
Yeah.
Which was really hard to do because me and my son have very similar brains. And we're both running 1,000,000 miles an hour, and we're both very hot. And yeah, as soon as I could, like I said, so I just jumped onto the Zoom calls every week. I was even the worst bloody student. I was like, go through the program, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going through it. But yeah, just the energy and the words, that was pretty much the solid thing that changed it. And yeah, you're not alone, and you will get through it, and lean in. And if I see you post, I will happily either like just jump in and give you a hug and I hear you, I've been there.
Thank you.
You're amazing, darling. Thank you.
That's all right, hon. I'll mute and butt out because give me a microphone, I'll go forever.
That's okay. No worries. So what I want you to do, Amy, is first of all, ask yourself, who else has made me feel like this? Where else has that happened for me? And then secondly, what I want us to start with tonight and come back next week, and we'll go a whole lot deeper, especially if you can watch even just a few of the videos in the beginning of the program before next week, over this next week. What I want you to do is this: understand or start tomorrow with fresh eyes, okay? And with these kids, particularly with ADHD and ASD. And I saw Nicole just put it there too, because her son, the same thing, ADHD, ASD. He's now 13. She also has a daughter with autism, ASD as well, who's now 16. And I think actually you were on the webinar the other night, and I told Nicole's story. I said, go watch that video on the webpage. That was Nicole. That's her right there. So what I want you to do with him is know that he needs to feel seen and he needs to feel understood, okay? You don't have to agree with him, but all the needs are in him. And if you can find ways to meet these needs first thing of a morning, this is probably why he wakes up so boisterous, so like sensory stuff. Don't disregard that, what Martine's been talking to you about, 100%, anything like that. But I see you've already tried a lot of things, okay? But because he's waking up, so what did you say here? You said his behavior is loud and demanding and obnoxious, okay? So instead of seeing it as demanding and obnoxious, see it as a young boy who basically knows he'll go to school today, or he'll go out into his life today, and he won't be seen, and he won't be understood by the world. And he's almost preparing his own nervous system for the day that he has to face. Being different, not understanding like other people do, just knowing that he's the difficult student, or he's the difficult child, or he struggles in friendships or whatever it might be. So he wakes up knowing that's the day he has to face, and that's what puts him immediately into his fight or flight response, into his amygdala brain, okay? And all I want you to start with in the mornings is just helping him feel seen, okay? Now, how you do that is and this is all in the fourth pillar, like it's at the end of the program, but if you feel like you're really called to it and you want to fast forward, watch a few of those videos and then come back to the start, the words are things like, so when you see him, I don't know, does he start getting angry in the morning? Does he start huffing and puffing? Does he start procrastinating and like getting distracted? What does he do? Give me an idea of what he does in the morning so I can give it to you word for word.
He will come running out of his bedroom, pelting out, and throw himself into the beanbag and probably make some really loud, funny noises.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Mm.
So it's probably more of a sensory thing going on for him. Yeah. So do this then. If he starts like that, if you can find the energy within yourself, do you reckon you could start? Could you start with like a morning wrestle with him? You reckon you could? Yeah. So like he's
Yeah.
not too strong for you, or he's going to hurt you, or something like that. Okay.
No, I'm
Cool.
tough.
So I want you to do this, right? How old's your? Did you have another child? Or is it just him?
Yeah, I've got a 6-year-old girl.
6-year-old. Okay. So you can tell both of them if you want, or at least tell him. Tell him the truth. Tell him you're doing this program, okay? Because we'll use this lots of times. Like actually last week, if you watched last week's replay, I spoke to an 8-year-old child myself because he's become so familiar with who I am and my name, and the family talk about Holly and da 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 da. And all the kids know that I'm on their side, that I'm the one that tells their parents off for the way that they talk to them. That's how we kind of, give them, I build the rapport with them. I'm like, hey, tell me what's going on for you. And I'm here to help your mum be a better mum. She wants to be a better mum. And if she's not saying the right things to you, I'm going to tell her that. So I get the kids on my side feeling safe with me. And then like last week, she brought her son on the call and I spoke to him myself instead of talking like through her, kind of a thing, right? So tell him, listen, what's his name, by the way?
Michael.
Michael. So what I want you to do is say, Michael, I want to tell you something, right? I want to actually apologize to you because I know there's been some big mistakes that I've made as your mum. And there's been lots of moments where I have said things I shouldn't have said, where I've done things I shouldn't have done, where I've got angry when I didn't need to. And I know that you are always doing the best that you know how to do in any moment. And I'm sorry that I've made some big mistakes. And I want you to know that I know that I've made those mistakes and I want to be a better mum. So do you know what I've done? I've actually just gone and paid lots of money. Like you can even say that. So because what that means to a child, it's not about the money. It's that, wow, I'm that important to you that you pay money to work out how to be better for me, right? That's how kids will translate. So I've gone and paid lots of money to be able to learn how I can be a better mum, how everything I do, how I can say things better, how I can treat you better, how we can have better boundaries with each other and we can respect each other because you are so important to me. And I want to learn how to love you in all the ways that you need it. And last night I had a call and now I've got my own coach and I've got someone that's going to help me. So if ever we struggle with things, if ever I'm not sure what to do, I've got a coach that I'm going to go and ask, how do I do this better? And I want you to know that I'm doing this because of how much I love you guys. And I know I make mistakes. So don't talk about their mistakes, only talk about yours. If in that moment, this is what happens with beautiful ADHD hearts and ASD hearts, particularly the autism heart, like they just have beautiful hearts. If he himself wants to apologize, okay, receive it. Meaning, don't say, oh, you don't need to apologize. If he says, oh, I'm sorry too, mum, I know I've made mistakes and I haven't been very nice to you sometimes or whatever. Don't say, oh, darling, it doesn't matter. It's not your fault. Don't say that. Say, you know what? Thank you. I can really feel your heart when you say that to me. And I love that you want to be better. And how about we do this together? How about we be like coaches for each other? And you give me some feedback and I'll give you some feedback sometimes. And let's work on our relationship together. So just see what kind of buy-in you get from him around that, or whether he'll do one of two things. He'll feel quite connected in that conversation. You probably see his little eyes light up, or he might go very awkward and like want to not hear about it and run. And it doesn't matter. I just want you to start there with that so that we can refer to that all the time. Okay. So that you can say in moments like something like, I can see right now that there's something you need. And I am so sorry that I don't know what to do right now to help you with what you need so that you can get to bed on time. I don't know, but you know what? It does matter. You are important to me. And I'm going to ask Holly that this week. What can I do to meet your needs when you're in a situation like this? Because I can see you're trying. So you'll do things like this. And so if my name, Holly or whatever, becomes a bit familiar, we can drop a few sentences that create like circuit breakers in your energy dynamic sometimes, where you don't have to know what to do. What you can do is own the fact that, you know what? I'm actually feeling really angry right now, and I can feel myself almost wanting to say all the words that I've apologized to you for, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go to my own room. I'm going to close the door. I need some space to myself, okay? And I'm going to go and ask for help on what I should do here, because So you can just be real like that. And the more that you do that, the more that your children feel seen, the more that they actually believe that they matter. Okay. Not like, oh, you're just telling me I'm important. Like they start getting evidence on knowing that. And so the words to use with him, like in mornings where his voice, I would definitely encourage you to do some kind of sensory thing with him, play a wrestle game. A really good one that I suggest to people is where you like pin him down, maybe on the bed or on the ground, whatever, and you get on top of him and he has to try and get out from underneath you. So what really calms and regulates their nervous system, I don't know if you know, I've got a background as exercise physiology and I love nervous system work, one of my passions. And so what really helps is intrinsic force, not just external force on them like sensory things do. But that's why these kids always respond to things like gymnastics and stuff, where on the inside of their body, they're exerting so much force with all of their muscles and bending their joints in different directions and things like there's forces on their body internally, and that will downregulate their nervous system. So if you can lay on top of him, make it fun, literally set a timer, right? Let's do a 1 minute wrestle. Let's have some fun before we even start our day. So instead of starting the day with barking orders, here's what you need to do. Come on, you need to get dressed. Come on, it's breakfast time. Like, come on, whatever it is. Start the day with 1 minute of meeting his. You literally can put on a timer and then do it to your little girl as well. Like, let her be part of it in whatever way, you might do with her. Same thing if she enjoys it, or you can tickle her or whatever you want to do. But start with, you come first. I'm going to meet you in love. I'm going to meet you in it. The first thing of my day is to try to do something to fill your bucket so that you know you're getting attention. And in that, he also has power, so that you learn in the program the 2 buckets that kids need filled every day is a love bucket and a power bucket. The discipline pillar teaches you how to fill their power bucket. The first pillar teaches you how to fill their love bucket. Okay. And with ASD, ADHD, and also with your nervous system, Amy, with everything that's going on for you in the mornings, like doing some kind of sensory thing where instead of you're like, oh, fuck, he's so loud. He's so, my God, like, and you just resist what he's doing. You're like, fuck, can I just start my day with some peace? Right? If you go, right, that's it. Cool. We got 1 minute. Be as loud as you like. Go. And then like literally have like a timer, but like give them permission. If they're being loud anyway, go, right, we've got 1 minute. and you can be as loud as you like, or play a wrestle game or something like that. If he loves that, then yeah, whether it's on the bed or whatever, do something, set a timer so it's only 1 minute, and that way, his nervous system can feel settled, your nervous system can get settled, and then there's at least some kind of connection, some kind of like, I got seen, that when I wake up in the mornings, the first thing that happens for me is that I'm seen. Yeah. Start there. Okay. And at the same time, asking yourself, where else have I felt this? Anything you feel in relation to what goes on in this dynamic at any time of the day, if it's really strong for you, just ask, close your eyes, feel into your body and be like, where else in my life have I felt this? Who else did I feel like this with? Because if we can identify that and resolve some of that, the wound won't even be there for him to trigger, and you will have more space than you can ever imagine. And I think was it you that I talked to on the phone the other day about that Happy to Hold retreat, about the retreat?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. This is all the kind of work we do at that retreat. It's not till October, but this is work that we do there. Okay.
Yep. I'll put it in my diary.
Yeah. Start there. Come back next week. The biggest thing I want you to get to is the descriptive praise stuff, but it's okay if you don't get that till it's in the first pillar. That stuff is going to change your world, word for word, what to say, how to say it. It's going to meet his needs so much before he goes to bed that he wakes up with a 75% full bucket already. Okay. And doesn't need to do all these things that make it feel hard. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I can relate to that a lot. I think like one of the things that I haven't actually found an answer to, but that I've been very aware of, and everything I've been listening to lately is just about the resistance. Like, I can feel everything in me resisting, and I'm like, just surrender. Why do you have to fight it so much?
Yeah. Because and it's not even just like, it's if you identify where that's really coming from, you'll instantly melt into it. Like you will find that releasing of that resistance, like you will remind yourself, like you'll get a trigger and you'll be like, it's not his fault. This is my dad. This that I'm feeling, this is me at 6 years old, scared that I'm going to run my dad late and he's getting angry, or whatever it might be, like whatever it was that kind of triggered that for you. It's like, and then you can just remind your nervous system, like, my dad is not here. I am safe. The worst thing that can happen here is that we're late to school and late to work. Not ideal, but also not the end of the world. That's the worst thing that can happen here. And so if as soon as you can identify where it's coming from, and you can just know that really in those moments, what's triggering you is that you're not seeing your son. What you're seeing is your dad or whoever it was. Like that's you're seeing him through that filter, which is why you have those reactions that are hard for you to regulate. Okay. Meaty sensory needs, start the program. Next week, I'd love to have a conversation with you around all the stuff on descriptive praise and appreciative praise. That is major key. That's why I took it when I first made the program, in the very first instance. I had it in the third pillar where we talk about all the things to say and to do. And I moved it as soon as I ran people through the beta program. I'm like, oh shit, they need that way earlier in the program. And actually we need it before we get to discipline, because this helps fill the child's love bucket. So when we get to discipline and we start putting healthy, conscious boundaries in place and doing things not from a place of anger, but through consciousness, like the children will respond to it because they already feel seen, they already feel heard, they already feel understood, they already get some of their love needs met, and that gives them enough self-esteem to sit and take the hits when it comes to getting feedback on their behavior and looking at discipline stuff. Okay?
Yeah.
But ultimately,
Yes, thank you.
we can't ever make a child behave better by making them feel worse. Yeah, making a child feel worse with anger or punishment or whatever never makes them behave better. So, yeah, thank you for showing up so bravely. I'm really keen to hear. So don't even wait a whole week. Like use the group in between the Zoom calls so that you're feeling really connected, especially in the first month or so of really diving into all these videos and doing it. Okay, we'll shift things massively. Talk to your kids about the fact that you're doing this, why, and apologize to them.
Yep, awesome. Thank you.
Beautiful. Amazing, darling. Thank you. All right, let me. Hi, Adele, you're so cute. Holly had to remind me when things started going a bit sideways. But it is true, Wendy. I'm just seeing that all of the stuff on descriptive praise and learning how to do that perfectly will absolutely like reconnect you with your kids. It absolutely is like goes a long way to your kids feeling heard and feeling seen. And from there, they're willing to connect with you. And from a place of connection, they're willing to hear you, respond to you, and they have a natural desire to want to please you. But when they're so disconnected and they feel like they're always in trouble and no matter what they do, you don't even see all the good things they do, you only see the bad things that they do, etc., and they feel judged and criticized, at that point, they don't even care about you anymore. They're like, the best way for me to not feel hurt is for me to just not care. I don't care. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you're angry at me. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care because I hate you too. Like they just get that attitude. Yeah. And that's how they protect their hearts. Okay. So Claudia, it's you, darling. Let me find you on this screen here. Okay. How are you? Let me unmute your line. Excellent.
Hi.
Excellent. Okay. So you've got the children who bedtime used to be really good. Now it's some nights they're kind of hit and miss. They're good or they're really bad and they're still awake at 10 p.m. Yeah. And they're sharing a room.
Well, with the older one, I always had a problem because he just generally is not tired at times and always like not toddler age, but very early on was just refusing to go to bed.
Okay.
I don't know if it's fear of missing out or just wanting to hear what other
things. What can I just ask, just to make sure, what happened when he was born? Was he with you? Did he get taken away from you? Did he have to pick you or anything? What happened?
Dramatic birth. Yeah, I knew I was gonna get emotional.
Don't rush through it, darling. Just sit here and let yourself feel this.
Yeah.
All of this, when we move through these,
the plan was to have a water birth. My water broke's at home. My midwife came to my house to see if we've got enough time to get to the hospital. And then I was in the water for ages, and he just didn't move any lower. So we could feel the hair already, but the shoulders got stuck. And yeah, I feel like they left it for a very long time until they got the emergency nurses come in. And then I needed to go into a different room. They had to push him back in, had to pull out the arm over his head to get him out. They had to cut me. They were asking me all these questions. Do you want to tear naturally? Do you want to be cut? Like, I don't care. I just want my baby out, and I want him to be safe. And because at one stage they couldn't hear his heartbeat anymore. And yeah, so he came out, they put him on my chest, and then he was turning blue. And thank goodness my back then husband noticed, was like, oh, his color doesn't look right. Can you please check him? So they had to clear his airways again. And then so Lucas and my husband Thomas left the room and got brought into the room that I was going to be taken to later on, once they had done the stitches and everything. But then there was no treatment room available, so I had to wait for 5 hours until they could stitch me up. So I had no idea at that stage if they were okay, and they had no idea if I was okay.
So he basically didn't see you for 5 hours.
Thomas was not a natural dad, so he was obviously overwhelmed and worried about me, and didn't know what to do with the newborn as well. So yeah, that was pretty traumatic.
Wow, that's very traumatic. Traumatic for you and for him. So he was on you, but then he went blue, and then essentially he was taken away from you, and you didn't see him for 5 hours. So no contact.
Longer. Well, then after 5 hours, I had the surgery and then got brought back into the room. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Talking about that was because I'm working on my I'm sorry statement in my head already. Just started the program.
Beautiful.
And talking about this separation from him, there was one other incident when he was 2.5, when we were visiting Germany. So the plan was we go over. By then I had my second son as well, who was a bit younger still. And the plan was we go to Berlin. My husband and his brother, who lives in Berlin, drive on with the kids to his parents, and I get a couple of days to stay in his brother's apartment just to rest, reset, and then join them a bit later. I've told that to Lucas, but he was 2.5, so he probably did not realize what that really anticipates. And then when we arrived in the rental car in Berlin, both children were asleep in their car seats. And I was telling my husband back then, like, they will be so worried, like where I am. So can we wake them up, and at least the older one, and tell him what's happening? And so he sees me leaving and sees your brother coming into the car. And Thomas was like, no, that will be a terrible drive. We still have to drive for 2 hours. Let them sleep. And yeah, it didn't feel right for me. But then I did understand his point and left. And so when Lucas woke up and I wasn't there, he freaked out in the car. And they had a terrible drive for 2 hours. Yeah, so this is definitely something that will go into my I'm sorry letter, because yeah,
Beautiful.
that was hard. And I feel very guilty about that.
Yeah. And when you can really lean into that letter, and you can release that guilt and speak to that guilt that you have in your heart, it again, this feeling, this guilt, it takes up a lot of space in us, and it's taking up a lot of space in you. And when that space is taken up, it's not available for love, it's not available for security and connection and all the and for tolerance and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing that. My heart feels for you. So everyone's putting comments in the chat. You can look at it after.
I did not see any.
Okay. You can look at the chat after.
Sorry.
But everybody's, really holding you right now. This is the beauty of this community. So this is why I wanted to ask the question before I just go straight into like, here's what you do to make your kids, go to bed and stay in bed, because it's important to make sure it's not coming, like to not put them through more trauma of just like bad luck, I'm not available, that's it, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense why, you say he takes like an hour to put to sleep or whatever, or he just won't go to sleep. And probably the reason that he can't sleep is when he knows bedtime is approaching, he knows he's being separated from you. And in his nervous system, his body has all of the memory. 1 minute I was born, I was on my mum's chest. And then next minute she wasn't here for 6 hours, 7 hours. 1 minute I was asleep. Next minute I wake up in a strange car, in a strange country, and I don't see my mum for 2 days, right? And as a 2-year-old, I don't know if she's coming back, right? So it's the same. So when he knows he has to go to sleep, and during that time he's in a different, like his nervous system just goes into like, will my mum be there later, right? And so how old is he now? Sorry, 7, did you say?
8,
8.
turning 9 in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do, there's a video, I won't even bother explaining it now, okay? It does cover everything that you're going to need, and I don't believe in like controlled crying or something where you put them there and you're like bad luck and you're gone. I do believe in allowing them to have some feelings that aren't always, good feelings kind of a thing, but in a way that they know they are safe and they know they are loved and they know you are there. They don't feel abandoned. They don't feel rejected. But they're allowed to process some being pissed off at you because they have to go to bed. Like, that's totally fine. You're allowed to protest. You're allowed to say that you don't think this is a good idea, that you think you should be able to stay up. I was like, that's all fine. You can have those feelings. But that video, so in that video, I teach about like how to put them to bed and exactly how to do it. And in that video, I was speaking specifically to someone, with a 2-year-old at that time, but it's the exact same process. Even so, he just needs to be able to see you. And now you go into this with a mindset that I'm already agreeing to this being hard for at least 3 to 4 nights. And because he's older, it will be a little bit longer than if it was a 2-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
So you go into this going, well, what's the difference? My nights are hard anyway. I don't get to sleep before 10 o'clock anyway. So, like, what's the difference? Like, so you go into it so that you're not like, oh my God, you're taking my time and getting more energetic. It's very much about staying neutral. Did you say, sorry, are you a single mum now? Do you have a partner now? Are you? No? Okay. So it's literally just you. And your children are both in the same room.
Yeah.
And this child doesn't go to bed easy, but the other child does?
The other does go pretty well. Obviously, 6-year-old, he's now trying to stay up longer as well and like pushing the boundaries there a little bit, but he's a lot easier to handle.
Okay. And he'll go to sleep pretty good as long as the older one isn't in there to stir him up. Am I getting the right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So if we can get him out the way, then we can give all the attention to do what we need with this child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So couple of ways to do this. So as you start doing the program and you learn about meeting his love needs, it's going to help a lot, because I talk in this video that I'm going to tag you in about, making sure that you've met their love needs before it's bedtime. So here's what I'm going to say. Maybe so I'm going to suggest that you may even need to change some routine. Routine helps build security. So sensory stuff, nervous system stuff, all done. It can be after dinner. So I'm going to suggest you do something like a wrestle game or play, so that all sensory needs, all love needs, all attention needs, like I'm talking 15 minutes or so, 10 minutes, right? It doesn't have to be your whole night or half an hour so that you don't have time to clean up or something. So it might be either before dinner, or you can have dinner, and in the time between dinner and bath or dinner, shower, whatever you do, this is where you play those games, because you said something about, I think you said something about, you've been letting them play games before bed or something like that.
Where they just usually tend to play Lego or with their toy cars in the room together on the weekend nights. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. On weekend nights. Okay. So any kind of connection sensory needs, let's meet them before we do the wind down routine. So when we go to shower or whatever, from that point on, there's no more stimulation. So at this time of the night, so it's very normal, like our sympathetic nervous system wants to activate in the morning. So we like, that's where we can wake up and we can do, we can go. Like that's the part of our system that can go and fight or flight or go to war for the day and do all those things. At nighttime, for our circadian rhythms, we need to bring down our, our nervous system, and we need to activate the parasympathetic so that we're getting ready for rest, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anything stimulating from bath time onwards, don't do it. Anything that makes the kids even think, like let's say they're making Lego, I know that's like a quiet activity, but if they're trying to make something or work out how to build something, they're actually stimulating their mind. And also to do that, they have to have lights on, overhead lights, right? Let's just bring in everything you can to create beautiful surroundings so that we know we can eliminate those as any problem, and then we can go pretty hard on the part when we get to the bedtime, right?
Okay.
Because you know their needs are met, you know their bodies have wound down, okay?
Yeah.
So where possible, no overhead lights, right? So like no down
They
lights.
usually don't. I have like little bedside tables, and they try to put the big lights on, but I'm like, sorry guys, only the little ones.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All of that is brilliant. Yeah. And like, orange lights and all those kind of things. Yep. Excellent. Okay. So you got that. So then you do your reading or whatever you do, as you wind down. I would suggest you go back to like putting the little one down first.
Yeah.
And what you're going to do is do it like this. You're going to say to the little one, you're going to tell the boy, are they both boys? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yep, cool. So you, no, Christy, yeah, I would definitely say no iPad, especially if they're under like, 10, 12 years old. 100. Yep. Yeah. And if they do have an iPad, they need, glasses, blue light blocker glasses for sure. So, what I want you to do is say to them, so guess what? Mummy wants to have more time with you guys, and I want to have special time just with each person one-on-one, because I want to do special time with you and special time with you. So that I can give you all of my time. So you say to them, what are their names, the eldest and the youngest?
The youngest is Toby and the eldest is Lucas.
Toby and Lucas. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll say, so for example, like to Toby, so you say to Lucas, hey, you're going to get your turn second, because once I get him to sleep, we can do special stuff. Like we can have an extra 2 minutes or whatever. You can make it special for him, or, instead of doing it in the bedroom, we can do ours in the lounge room or something like that. Right. But the deal is he has to wait, but that's what he gets in the end. That's what Lucas gets. What Toby gets is, you know what, you get to go first. I'm going to have my special time with you first. And it's not that it's a competition from each other, but they get something special, and kids thrive on this, that I get to go first. And the other one's like, yeah, but I get to be in the lounge, like they've got something they can own, where you're not being fair. Like you're not giving them the same thing. Another thing you'll learn in the program is sameness isn't fairness. But for now, it's like, don't be fair. Don't do it the same. Okay. Yep. You get to be on the couch, but you have to wait. You get to go first. Okay. So they feel like they get something special, and it's a way for Lucas to wait and for Toby to be settled first. So then you get him to sleep. Yeah. Now let me ask you this. If you bring Lucas into that room, if he was to be boisterous or start to be loud or cry or whatever, would he wake Toby? Does Toby sleep?
The problem at the moment is that Toby takes much longer to go to sleep. So his bedtime is just shifting to later at the moment.
All right.
So
Then what you do.
if I need to lay with him, and he's used to that, unfortunately, because that's what we used to always do, he's used to either me or Thomas at his house being next to him until he falls asleep, which I find really hard right now, because it can take up to an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to teach him,
And last question, where is your room located in relation to their room?
So both bedrooms are upstairs, like one at each end of the hallway.
You can kind of like look at both. So here's the deal. What we'll do is it's like, so each kid only gets like 10 minutes maximum. Okay. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But
that would be great.
but it's full attention. It's like
Yeah.
nothing else exists in the world except for this child. So if you're with Toby and Luke, you say, Lucas, I'm sorry, I'm unavailable right now. I'm having my time with Toby. You'll need to go away, please. This is my time with Toby. So Toby's like, yeah, this is my time, you know? And so you have strong boundaries. You will get your turn, but only when I'm done with Toby, right? So that they feel really like they're getting their needs met. Now, it's 10 minutes, okay? And then you say, Toby, I'm going to lay with you. We can read a book. I can tickle your back, whatever it is. You get to choose all that. You get all of me. We can talk and everything. But at 10 minutes, that's when I am leaving the room, right? He doesn't. Now, if you're not asleep, then I'm going to go have my 10 minutes with Lucas, right?
Yep.
If you're not asleep, that's okay. If you're trying to go to sleep, you're not in trouble. But if you're not asleep yet, then Lucas will be put to bed in mummy's bed. And then once Lucas is asleep, I will carry him into this room.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? And then what you'll do when you watch the video on like how to get them to go to bed and stay in bed is that like if Toby just knows you're there, he can like you'll sit outside the door of their room. Like let's say if Lucas is the one that's kind of more trouble, Toby might be awake, but he's still at least in bed, right? And he knows you're out there, and Lucas is the one that's kicking up, and you have to get out of, he gets out of the bed or something. Then when you watch this video, you'll sit right near Lucas's door. But do things like make noise, like cough and stuff, just so that Toby knows you're still here. So he's not getting you laying with him. Now, if this doesn't work or this is too much for you to handle because you feel too guilty and you can't keep your energy like very neutral, because I do say in the video, if you have a partner, when your energy starts to not be neutral and you're starting to get pissed off, you have to tag team and fresh energy has to come in. Okay. Because you don't have the luxury to do that. So just keep me posted with what happens this week. We can do this in the same room. What it will mean is you put Toby to bed, then you'll have time out there with Lucas. You'll bring Lucas to bed, and then you'll sit outside their door, and you might sit there for 4 nights straight for another hour until both of them go to sleep, right? Worst case, if you have to, to make it more comfortable, if it's taking hours, because I'm aware of Lucas's nervous system with his birth stuff or whatever, you can get a mattress and put it down in the middle of their beds and you lay down there. And you can be on your phone, you can do what you need or whatever. You can sit up against the wall, but just expect to have no life at nighttime for maybe, let's just call it a week.
No change.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yep, I can deal with that.
Yeah. All right. So go into it with that expectation. Give yourself a week, and I mean, I don't think it will take a week. I think it will probably take 3 or 4 days. Okay, you'll see in the video, the first night can be crazy. The first night they can get out of bed 700 times. You're there for 2.5 hours. But if you just hold strong on the boundary, remember, you're not causing any trauma here. Even if they're crying, they know they are loved. They just had your attention. They know they are safe. They know you are there. They know they are loved. They know they are safe. Now there is no trauma. Now there's just the permission to allow them to have their own human experience, which includes all of the emotions of not being able to control you and being disappointed and, whatever it might be and all of that. And you're like, you know what? It's okay. You're allowed to have your feelings. I am here. You are loved. You are safe. So there is no trauma at play here.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yep.
The video will explain the rest. And of course, your boys are probably still big enough to pick up if you need to, but I talk in the video, if you've got a 2-year-old, you pick them up and put them back in the bed. With your boys, you might not necessarily pick them up, but you'll just, without making much eye contact, without saying anything, without being angry, without also being loving, like you're nothing. You're just neutral. There's like almost no emotion from you, and you'll just guide them back to bed. And they'll go into bed, and you can pull the blanket over, and then you walk straight out. But there's no cuddles, and there's no eye contact. There's no interaction. There's nothing for their mind to feed off, to want to be stimulated by and to want more of. Okay.
Yeah.
That will be part of their nervous system's wind down. And then we will get these boys to sleep. I just want to do it a little bit more gentle, knowing what's happened with Lucas. So Toby to bed, do that. Don't be worried if he's not asleep. You can't force him to go to sleep. That's his
Yeah.
own power. That's his power over his sovereignty over his own body. He goes to
Yeah.
sleep. He goes to sleep. As long as he's not getting out of bed and making a fuss or something like that, then that's fine. And if you need to do Lucas in a different, I mean, you can try put him in the same room, Lucas into bed. And as soon as you might even make that the natural consequence, not a punishment, but
Yeah.
Lucas will come in. But if there is any talking, that's it. There's no chances that, one of you will be put in my bed. And the one that maybe you'll just alternate it because they might feel like it's a bit special if someone gets to go in your bed. It'd be like, hey, if I hear you talking and you trying to stir up, Toby tries to stir up Lucas will go in my bed. If Lucas is the one trying to stir up Toby, like the child who wasn't doing it gets the reward of going into your bed. Okay.
Yeah.
And they'll kick up about that, and that's okay. Just let them have their emotions. They are loved. They are safe. They have attention. They've had their love bucket, their love needs met. This is just them learning some resilience and how to self-settle. And it's a very important skill for them to learn, particularly now, because they're going to have school camps coming up soon and things like that.
2 weeks.
Perfect time. What perfect timing? Okay, absolutely.
Yeah. Lucas is freaking out about it. He's very nervous. He's actually like worrying sick about it.
And so you can say to him, you can tell him up front, hey guys, Mummy wants to tell you what. So you don't just do this. You say, guys, tell them what I said before. Hey guys, I wanted to tell you, I got a parenting coach. I want to be the best mum in the world. And sometimes I make mistakes and I wish I knew how to do things better. And I don't know. So I've paid money to get someone to coach me. So tell them that, right? And then you can go, so you know how I'm doing the parenting coaching. Well, one thing that's really important is that our bodies get all the rest that they need at night. And to do that, it's so important to me that I make sure your bodies are very healthy and that they get enough sleep. Okay. So what's going to happen as of tonight is we're going to have this special time and I'm going to do you first, Lucas, and then I'm going to do you, Toby. But here's the deal. If ever anyone stops the other person from sleeping, that person will go into Mummy's room so that you've got separate rooms, and I will carry that person into their bed later once they're asleep. Okay. So you can explain to them what's going to happen. And then that way they kind of know what to expect. And then when if their brain already has an expectation of what's going to happen, it doesn't take it as a shock when it's happening. If that makes sense.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Follow the video for the rest of it. Use the group. Ask questions if you need. I'll keep my eye out on posts in this group. So many people here had sleep issues with their kids and, when they came to the program and whatever. Yes, you can say out loud, like Nicole is saying, like if the kids get really angry or something like that, or they're getting really disrespect, you can say, you stay in your spot where you're sitting, where they both know, you say, you are loved and you are safe. Yeah. Mom, I need a drink. You are loved and you are safe, and there are no drinks. But most important, that's only if you need to. You'll see on the video, it's like stay silent, no engagement, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you really feel like they're needing something from you while their nervous systems are like, what the hell? I don't like this program that you're doing. I don't like this. Who told you to do this? Right?
Yeah.
You get like that. You just say you are loved and you are safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It will help immensely. And if you need to separate their rooms, that's totally fine to do that. Okay.
And the video you're talking about, you're going to post that in the group?
It's already in the group. I'm going to tag you in it.
Okay.
Nicole or Danny or someone, could you guys do me a favor and go and do that for me right now before I forget? The video I'm talking about and the white jumper in my car, how to get your kids to go to bed and stay in bed. If somebody could please do that for me, that'd be amazing. One of these girls always do it, so it'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, Danny's got it. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Keep me posted. Worst case, this will be worst case, we need next week's call, but I want you to practice this all week so that if they're not responding, they at least are familiar with the process. Familiarity makes us feel safe. Next week, I'll teach you how to go a little bit harder and stronger because you can, given that they're 6 or 7. Okay, they're not 2 or 3. I just don't want you to start there. A, I don't really think you're going to need it. And B, let's just see how Lucas's nervous system goes specifically. Let him get some familiarity with this so that then next week we can step it up if we need to. So you won't, you have maximum another 8 days of not getting, what time do you want your boys to go to bed? What time is your bedtime?
So Toby goes in his room 7:30, and then by 8 should be asleep. And then usually Lucas comes in
Okay.
8 and I lay with him. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Okay. But
Is
what
that-
we'll do is
That's not too late, is it?
that's excellent. I think
Yeah.
7:30 in there with Toby. He gets it in his room or whatever. That's fine. If that's working, don't change that. And then you walk out at like 7:40, 7:45 tops. You can go, let's have another 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to watch the clock. The other thing I wanted to say is set an alarm. So when
Yeah.
the alarm goes off, you can be on their side. So it's not like you're the one that ruins the fun because you watch your clock and then you're like, okay, that's it, time's done. So set an
Yeah.
alarm, even like that. Hey, would you like to do the alarm? So put it to let's do 11 minutes tonight. You know, you can play like this. Let's do 11 minutes. I want to give you extra cuddles tonight or something like that. Not all the
Yeah.
time, because they'll, you give them an inch and they'll take a mile, right?
Oh, yeah.
So let's set the alarm, and then you can forget about it. You can go deeply into the moment. And the kid who's waiting for you, Lucas is waiting, he's waiting, like it's not his turn yet. Have you heard the alarm? No, you haven't. That's because it's still my time with Toby. Now go away, please. Right.
Mhm.
And so when the alarm goes off, it's not you ending our time together. It's the alarm ending our time together. So you can be like, then you can be like, oh, that went so fast. Oh, well, it's time for sleep now. And so you've got like an agreement, and the alarm is what stops it. And then you do the same thing so that, they're not like, oh, he got longer than me or this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later on in the program where we'll make sure the kids aren't even comparing themselves. But for now, just one thing at a time.
Sounds amazing.
Alarms.
Yes.
When that alarm goes off, you come out of the room, and the only place they get access to you is you in that hallway area, so that they know you're there. Okay. That is all it is. Okay.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right.
That
Let me
sounds
know how
really
you're
good.
going, and yell out if you need to. If it's kind of works and kind of doesn't, just come into the group and we'll help you out. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Amazing.
Mhm.
All right. Let me. I'm not going to read these comments. It's yeah. Thank you, Nicole. Cool. All right. So, Jossie, are you here? Let me see. Jossie. If you're here, can you unmute yourself? I'm trying to go through all the names. Stalo37, I'm not sure who you are, but hello, Sylvie. I just saw you guys join the call since the beginning. Jossie, are you here? No, maybe not. I can't see. Okay, I think she's not on the call. So, who is Stalo37? Are you? I'm guessing you're brand new to this program. Can you unmute your line? Are you able to? Maybe not. No. Okay. No worries. Maybe you're not there, or maybe you've got something in the background. That's totally fine.
Hello.
Oh, you are. Oh, hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to.
It's Sophie.
Oh,
I'm on my work computer, so it's just
that's
coming up with
totally
my
fine.
work name.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Are you Sophie Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you Amanda's sister?
In-law. Yeah.
In-law. Ah, there you go. Very cool. Well, nice to meet you properly face to face. I have seen you on here the last couple of weeks, but yeah, I was just like, oh, that's a new name. I want to make sure I knew who everybody is. So that's okay. Now I know if you're Stalo that you're Sophie.
Yes. It's just
How
my
are you
work
going with the
computer.
program? I know you're pretty new yourself. How are you going?
Good so far. I'm on the old program. So for some reason it's not working in the new portal, so I've actually got to go right back through my emails and go back through the old portal.
What do you mean by that? Tell me. So you're not just, so you signed up to the actual program, not just the Zoom calls?
So I signed up to the program, I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
But never actually did it. And now that I've started, and then I've just added on the Zoom calls since.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep.
So I know what that means. Did you find your login when we changed platforms into the new portal?
Yes. So I can get
So you've
into
set
the
it up
new
now?
portal. I can get in, but it says that I'm enrolled, but then when I click on it, it says that I'm not enrolled.
All right. Give me 1 second, okay? Wait, that's important. I want to make
Yep.
it. Give me 1 second. Hang on. Dave, can I have this 1 second? So there's somebody that joined, it's actually Amanda Taylor's sister, and she joined 2 years ago, but she never really did the program. And so now she has, but now when she goes into her portal, it says that she's enrolled, but then when she clicks on it, because she worked out how to do a login, then when she clicks on it, she can't basically access the program through our new system. Can we add her to the new system? Yeah. Basically, she's still on the system, I think, essentially. So can we, is that why?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just getting my tech guy here.
System.
Can we, pardon?
That's the wrong system.
Yeah.
Hello.
So if I go back through my very old emails and go to the very first one that had like the welcome email and the login, I can log into that and it will bring it up. But if I just log into the new portal website, it says that I'm enrolled in the love language. And then when I click on it, it won't open.
So that might be why. So because
That's on the old platform as well, though.
on love languages, but it's not in this platform, not in this one. I think this is why.
It is.
Do you? Okay, we'll just work it out.
What's
Sophie Taylor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just add her to the program.
But then, like, what website does it go to? Is it .com or is it .info? Because they should be different. They're different. One's the hollyeffect.com and one's
we'll just make sure that she's on the Holy Effect.
that's-
We'll just add. We'll just like re-tag you. What's your email address, Sophie? Just so we make sure we got it right.
Yeah.
So it's UNANNA.
Yeah.
2009 at hotmail.com.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I'll make sure you're in
Because
there.
I didn't do the full program. It was a
Some languages.
It was just a love language and something else I think was connected to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at that time we launched, we just gave people access only to the first pillar, to love languages. But that's okay. You know what? We'll just add you to this program.
Yeah.
We don't even offer that anymore, or we don't sell it or anything. We did it for a little while. Yeah, you might still have it on there, but we don't sell it or we don't offer it.
Yeah. I'll get it set up anyway.
All good. We'll just add you to the new program, okay? And you're Amanda's sister, and I'd love to look after you and all that kind of. So we'll just add you to the new program. You don't have to make another payment. You still paid for love languages a while ago or whatever. And our prices have changed now anyway, so it's no problem at all. You're on the subscription here, and Dave will add you. So technically, the system hasn't found you because you never joined the program. You joined like a special offer. We did that for like 2 months. That's all. So no problem. We'll get it sorted. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Awesome, darling. I'm glad you spoke up about that. All right. Please tell us if anything like that happens. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right, beautiful people. Well, that's it for tonight then. Thank you for some very beautiful, deep conversations. What I do want to say is this, for those of you, and many of you have heard me say this many times now, so for those of you who are really considering Happy to Whole, now is the time to really drop into that consideration and to make a decision on whether or not you're going to come. So we limit the spots at Happy to Whole. We're over half full already. And I'm going to, make sure everyone knows and send out emails and stuff like that this month. So if you are, what is Happy to Whole? What is this retreat? I mean, literally 99% of the people, on this call and in this program have basically done it. It's the next step. So when you get to a point where you realize that a lot of the issues you have with your children, a lot of the ways that you react to them have nothing to do with your children. They have everything to do with the wounds that you carry, with the issues within yourself that you haven't resolved. Imagine it like this. Imagine if you had some kind of skin disease, right? Let's say some like crazy kind of, high levels of eczema, psoriasis, and you have the rash or the skin issues all over your skin. If you got round with wounds on your skin, how that hurt when they got touched, how would you interact with the world around you, including your children? When they went to give you a hug, how would you'd be like, oh, be careful, be careful, be careful. Oh, it hurts. And so we do our best to relate to people, but we have to do it gently and from a distance, because when our wounds get touched, it hurts. That is the exact same thing with the emotional body. in your emotional body, you have wounds all over you. And your children are it's so easy, it's so available to them to touch. And so every time they touch a wound and they touch a sore and they touch somewhere that hurts, you often naturally have a reaction of pushing them away, distancing yourself, disconnecting from them, all of those things to be able to protect your wounds, right? Because it hurts when the wounds are touched. And then we deflect our pain onto our children. We make them the reason and the cause for our pain. We tell ourselves a story so much that we believe that they are the reason for why we have our moods or why we're so this or why we're so that, because the kids are just so much hard work. That is not true. The kids are not hard work. You just don't have space for them. Okay. And that's something to really acknowledge within yourself. And it's hard and it's confronting. And yes, it hurts. And I'm not even going to attempt to lighten that load for you, because the heaviness that you carry when you really sit in the truth of that also is what builds your desire to change that. Okay. You ask anyone in this program that's ever been to Happy to Whole, and it's impossible for you to ever parent the same or even show up in your relationships, your marriages and things like that the same. When you work on your wounds, they're no longer available to be touched. When you heal wounds that you've carried your entire life, that have been inflicted on you by others, that have been passed down to you through the generations, and everyone in your family carry the same wounds, and therefore all the examples you've ever seen in your life is how to react like that and how to talk like that and how to behave like that. Like that's your filing cabinet in your subconscious mind is full of those files, because that's all you've ever seen, because the wounds have been passed down through the generations. So if you notice that, if you see those cycles, this is the retreat. The whole reason I made this retreat was because this isn't your normal parenting program. This is a deeply conscious parenting program. And that means being aware of what we bring to the relationships with our children, and what we even bring energetically that completely, throws fuel on the fire. So that weekend, you spend 3 days with me in person. It's in Adelaide. We have people fly from all over the country, like Mel Emery. She came in from WA last year. The year before that, we had Jess Kernier fly in from London just for the retreat. And then she flew home 3 days. Like literally, she flew in a day before the retreat to have a day to get over jet lag, did 3 days at retreat, flew out the next night. So it is transformational. It is life-changing. There are 6-month payment plans. And if you have NDIS, we can do that. That's a private conversation I need to have with you around how we do that. But there is the option to look at NDIS if you have the funding available and if you want to do that. Okay. Not only that, but this is where you really, build this is where I feel like we become a family, truly. And I know that I don't want to be creepy with using that word, but truly, I don't know how else to explain the feeling and the connection between all of us. There are people on this call right now that are literally like best friends, like so close, talk daily, see each other regularly, are literally like sisters to each other. And they met each other in this program. And what they did was not just in the program, they journeyed together at Happy to Whole. And when you have journeyed at Happy to Whole, so it's all about wholeness. It's about not looking for happiness in your life. That's why it's called From Happy to Whole. So we stop looking for happiness and we start embracing our wholeness, which includes all things. And when you can meet yourself in the edges of everything that you feel, when you can sit with your pain and your disappointment and your grief and your abandonment and your rejection just as comfortably as you can sit with your happiness and your excitement and your joy and your pleasure, when you can sit with your wholeness, what happens is this. When you can sit with that within yourself, you can now sit with that in your child. You will never, ever, mark my words on this, I promise you, you will never be able to hold space for any emotion that your child expresses that you can't sit with inside yourself. If you hate your own anger, you will not tolerate your child being angry, and you will shut them down, and you will stop their expression, and you will blame them, and you'll strip them of their self-esteem unintentionally, but because you can't do anger. Or you might have a child that you feel is very sooky and very complains all the time. And if you can't sit with, your sadness, then you cannot, it will trigger the shit out of you when your child shows up with all of this sadness and their doom and gloom all the time. It will do your head in, and you will build stories around that, and you will react not to your child, but to the stories. So this is the weekend that unpacks every single thing about that, where you literally get held in a space where you can release anything that you don't need to hold on to anymore. And when you come home to your children, you are a whole parent, not just a parent trying to be good and you're okay with all. You can meet yourself in your wholeness in everything that comes up for you, and you can start. You will absolutely hold a space for your children with all those same emotions. You will meet them in their emotions the same way that you're able to meet yourself in your emotion. But if you can't do that with yourself, you will never do that with your child, and you'll cause the same trauma in them that has been caused in you that makes you shut down to that emotion altogether. So that's what that retreat is for. Okay, there's 6-month payment plans so that you've got time to pay it off, but the 6-month payment plans will end soon because it's in October. And of course, you can't sign up a month before and you've only made like, $400 worth of payment on a $3,000 event kind of a thing. So it will change as we get closer to the event. Okay, but that is it. If you have any questions on Happy to Whole, I'm willing to have private conversations with you about it if you have a genuine interest, okay, in coming. It's $3,300. There's no discounts on Happy to Whole ever. And when you see, it's all the food, it's your accommodation, it's everything. We bring our own chef. She makes the most nutritious food. She spends a whole week leading up to our retreat, like hand baking everything, like the brownies, the cookies, everything. It's so healthy. It's so nourishing. You feel so loved, and it covers everything, accommodation, etc. The only thing it doesn't cover, of course, is your flights if you're coming in from interstate. There are already people coming from interstate. And as we get closer, I do a message group once I know who's coming. And so that everyone who's coming from interstate can carpool, because it's an hour and a half from the airport. So you need to arrive, by like 9 o'clock in the morning, like first flight out kind of thing on the Friday, so that you can be down there to start by 1 p.m. So I say to everyone, make sure you arrive by 9:30 at the latest. Everyone can hang at the airport, meet each other, and you can all jump in and, share the costs of a hire car. And you end up becoming bloody best friends on the way before you get there. That's what happened last year. Shara's like dancing away, and Christy, and, everyone. So it is phenomenal. Okay. And thank you, Al. It really is a phenomenal retreat. And we have retreat guardians. So Danielle Keller will be there as our retreat guardian this year. And potentially some others as well. All right. You will be held the deepest you've ever been held, and it will change your freaking life. Okay. So that is it from me. Reach out if you have any questions. Oh, I just answered your questions, Amanda. Oh, very good. Well, get yourself booked, girl. We've been talking. I know you've had every intention for like 2 years to come. So this is your calling, darling. This is your calling. Go straight to the website. You know what? I'll put it in here for you, Zoe, in case you want to just go straight there. Drop in it'll take you 10 minutes to read the message I put on the page. I poured my heart onto that page. Every time we work with a marketing company, they're like, oh, we need to change your pages. They're not very good. They're not very good sales pages. I'm like, fuck the sales. I want people to read that and either feel called or not, because I do not want people in that room that aren't called to it. Because part of the magic that happens at this retreat, we've had people come that have been doing this kind of work for 15 years. They've gone to every spiritual healer, every retreat you can imagine, worked with all of these people. And they say, there's this block, there's this thing that I get to, but I can't get past it. And some of you know I'm talking about Zoe here. And within 2 hours of that retreat, we had cracked through what 15 years of. She said she spent over $30,000 trying to work it out, and within 2 hours at this retreat, she was through that layer, and it opened up her whole life. And that wasn't just because of me. This was the collective vibration of that room. Every person is there with such deep intentions, ready and willing to go deep, to be vulnerable. And that's why I don't want the wrong person there. So The website is a very deep message from my heart about the retreat. It's not a sales page, and that's how I like it. Okay, you will know whether or not you're supposed to be there by reading that website. So let me put it over here. It is so you go to the Holly Effect, and then you click on retreats, and then you click on, I'm just giving you the link here, but then you click on happy to hold. Okay. That's the retreat. I'll give you 20 seconds to copy that so that I can hang up this call, because then you'll lose it. Oh, yes, Amanda, you're coming. All right, go book your spot, girl. I would love to do the weekend with you. You know this. I know we talked about this recently. Would absolutely love, and you are more than ready. All right, everyone got that? So if you need a conversation, reach out. Otherwise, I will see you back in this call next week, yeah? Good night.